Hey crafters, it's Leo with Dreaming Tree, and today we're getting into the Halloween spirit with a fun little project that's both spooky and smart. We're calling it our Trick or Retreat sign. This little sign lights up to welcome all the little ghosts and goblins to your doorstep, and when the candy bowl is empty, you can simply swap the banner to let everyone know you're out of candy. It's a quick and clever way to add a little Halloween magic to your decor, and it's sure to bring a smile to your visitors. Let me show you real quick. Not only does it light up with some fairy lights, but you can see here that obviously you can make it however you want. You don't have to make it so that you can use the out of candy sign, but I thought that was really clever and useful. And of course it's flat, so it stores nicely. You can use it year after year, and it's a great reason to make an excuse to get into the craft room and make something beautiful. So grab your materials, get comfortable, and let's bring this glowing pumpkin sign to life. So I'm pretty excited about this one, just because I love things that light up for Halloween. And I know that, we didn't do any lanterns this year. Kind of taking a break from those for a little bit, maybe next year, but this sign's gonna be cool. So first thing that we need to do is, you'll notice we have this piece here with the T right here. T is for template. We are gonna back this with some foam core because we want it to be nice and sturdy. And the cool thing is it's flat, so you can put it away and keep it for next year or whatnot. We're gonna take this template and put it on some foam core, and I'm going to just trace it. This is all gonna be hidden away, so it doesn't matter if it's not perfect, but I want to trace this. And then we also cut out the eyes and the mouth to help you better concentrate the lights in areas that actually need it. So I do want you to trace the eyes and the nose and the mouth as well. Again, doesn't need to be perfect. Just need a general idea of where these cutouts are so that we can, again, strategically place the vellum, or not the vellum, the lights behind the vellum where it will make the most impact. Okay, and then don't forget these little holes. This is for the little hanging mechanism, and there you go. It's kind of cool. Cut this up, the little template, you can cut that up, use that as scrap for painting or whatnot, and grab your X-Acto and cut this out, and we'll be using it here in just a little bit. So once you have the template cut out, you don't actually need to cut out the eye portion. Again, that's just more of a guide, but you should probably poke some holes for the little hanger. I'm gonna use probably either some pipe cleaner or just a craft wrapped floral stem, actually. All right, so that's good. That's ready to go. And one thing we can do now is grab our string of lights, and you can either hot glue these if you want, or you can, I'm gonna use Scotch tape. Always seems to work and usually stands the test of time. Now, let me show you something on the prototype. We've included this little pocket. This is just a, what's it called? A battery-powered set of fairy lights. And this is gonna sit in the back like so. So you want to leave a little bit of, just a little bit of slack so that we can get it out and under and connect it to the back like this. So let's just pretend here that this is going to be in the back, add a little extra slack, and then we're going to come up and let's grab, where is my Scotch tape? We'll grab the Scotch tape and start gluing the lights. Again, if you want to make it more permanent, by all means, grab the hot glue, and you can hot glue the wire. But I'm just going to do Scotch tape. I think it'll be fine. Plus it'll be sandwiched anyway, so not a big deal. And just want to kind of work your way around. And you can put tape right on the lights. It also would help if the lights were pointing up instead of down. If you take a look at these real close, they almost look like the LED light is like in some epoxy or something. And there is, in fact, a up and a down. So just try to angle it up to get the most light, and you know, it actually would help if you turn it on so you can see the difference. It's subtle, so this is down and that is up. So it's not a huge difference, but it is a difference, trust me. Okay. And we're going to do our best to scatter this around and try to illuminate as much of this as possible. And you might have to kind of coil the light a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to keep it within the lines. You want to just make sure the light stays within the lines. Okay. And we'll press that down. And we'll do our best to just kind of get as much light as we can. I'm not going to be scientific about this just because I know that depending on the strand of lights that you get, you may have more lights, you may have less. And I don't know if it's really worth trying to, you know, come up with some formula for how many lights to have on here, on each little section. We just want to make sure we get a little bit everywhere. Let's see how many we have left here. And that will kind of help us determine if we're on the right track or not. We've got plenty. We can always go back and add some more lights in the little areas that might be relatively sparse as far as coverage. There we go. I'm going to start making my way up to, I'm going to do the eyes next. This is getting kind of caught up in little vines here. We'll do this eye, and we'll make our way over to the nose and then the other eye. And if necessary, if we have anything left over, we can kind of decide where we want to place it. That piece of tape got stuck on itself. You get the idea. Actually, I'm going to move that one over a little bit. We've done things like this before with these little fairy lights. It always adds a nice little touch. And you know what? Honestly, I was just thinking about it. I think about it almost every year. The kids love going to Spirit Halloween, but I will say that, you know, it's kind of, the stuff that they have there is rather disappointing as far as the items you can purchase. They all, you know, they're all just kind of like mass-produced junk for the most part. Rarely do you see anything with like real artisan appeal, which is why, you know, making something like this is very unique. And in some ways, I think more appealing than the stuff that you can find retail, in my personal opinion at least. And just like everything else in life, at least for me, it just so happens that things always seem to just work out. And what I mean by that is just how I'm staggering these lights and how it's going to turn out to be pretty much spot on as far as, you know, balancing it out with the number of lights for each little section. There we go. Now, I know I've been saying lately that I'm not a big fan of having to use batteries. For something like this, it's probably just easier just to use batteries, just because you don't want to have to run electrical. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll have a 1 stray there just because things were not perfectly calculated, but we'll do 6 here and not a big deal. And actually the tape on here almost acts as a diffuser a little bit and softens that light, which is nice. Okay, so there you go. All right, now check this out real quick. Well, this is the prototype. These are not the colors we're going to be using, but you see how cool that looks. Okay. All right, so this guy is pretty much ready to go, and we can start building. Let me turn this off. I want to save this light. Let's start building our little, well, the main part of this. So one thing you'll notice, and we do have to piece these individually. We have, well, trick or treat for when we're stocked with candy, and then we have out of candy for when we run out. Okay, and out of candy, the text on that is larger, so you may have to lay these letters out because obviously they have letters in common, but the font on this is larger. Okay, so you'll have to just kind of, what I would do is lay this out just to make sure you have the correct letters for each section and keep them all together. Okay, so let's go ahead and start building this. We're going to just kind of go through this methodically, get rid of little pieces that we don't need right now, and just slowly get everything put together. Don't forget to throw a little bit of glue on these little cutout areas in between the letters so they don't get snagged. Okay, got a nice purple glitter here, and just line that up as accurately as you can. Now these, again, we're going to use some Velcro dots, and these are going to go on separately. We're not actually going to glue these because the idea is once you run out of candy, you can pull this off and replace it with out of candy. Now, if you don't want to do that, that's fine. You can just glue down the trick or treat part of it. Maybe you just make sure that you never run out of candy, and that's fine. In some places, it's kind of inevitable. Out by me, it rarely happens. We don't really get a lot of trick-or-treaters because we're out in the country, but if you live in one of those neighborhoods where the houses are closer together, I think you're more likely to encounter that. So we're going to take these letters and you just place them in the middle so that you have a nice even amount of white surrounding each letter. Okay. Kind of a fun project. This isn't typically how we do lettering, but these were large enough to where they're easy to handle, and I think it just looks more impressive and effective to have them like this. Plus it's fun. It's therapeutic. Okay. You can also use magnets, the adhesive magnets, to put this part of the banner on if you don't want to use Velcro. Either one will work. Okay, so there's that. I was just thinking to myself today how I woke up and I can hear the wind from inside the house. I walked out at about 5 a.m. and I don't remember, well, I guess I do. I was gonna say, we always had, when I was a kid, Halloweens were decent as far as weather, but at the same time, I guess, I feel like kids are a little more resilient when it comes to that, and they're not really thinking about the weather when they're out getting candy. So maybe that's all it is, but I was like, well, wouldn't it be nice if they bumped up Halloween to while it's still a little warmer out, but I think that would kind of take away from the magic. Okay, so there's your trick or treat. So that one's done. I'm gonna pop that underneath my mat and let it dry flat. And we're gonna do the same thing with out of candy. So let's flip this around and get our glue going here. You gotta move quick here. A lot of area to cover. There we go. Make sure that's nice and lined up. Press that down. Okay. There we go. And just continue here, laying down the rest of the letters. And yeah, this one's not really that difficult. Literally kind of a paper piecing project. Nothing overly dimensional. We've got the lights and a few novelty features, but nothing crazy. So this will be rather enjoyable, I'd say. Okay. Things are, yeah, season's winding down. We went to a haunted, what is it? A haunted wagon ride the other day. And, well, Peyton is a brave little dude. He said he wanted to go. And I sat next to him. He looked a little perplexed and at times maybe, a little concerned, but no crying, no nothing. I think he enjoyed it. He always wants to watch scary things, which I don't know if that's a good thing, but I guess sort of inevitable given who he lives with and who's raising him. We got a bunch of Halloween nuts in our house, so I guess it's only natural. Hopefully it doesn't mess him up somehow. All right, so there's our out of candy. I'm gonna put that underneath my mat as well, let that dry. And now it starts putting the rest of this together. First thing we're gonna do is put this part together. Okay, the main part of the stem is made up of these 3 layers here. We have the thickest, and then we have this color and this on top just to give it that little extra little detail there. So we're going to glue this on top of the piece that is the same shape, just without the cutout. And then we'll put this on top of the glitter. So just match this up. There we go. This is that Encore glitter. It's kind of like POW, where it's glitter, but it doesn't flake off, which I love, because that flaky glitter sometimes does a number on your cutting machine. Gets stuck on the rollers and just is messy. Actually, maybe some of it is flaking off, or maybe that's from a different glitter. I've been working with a lot of glitter today, so it's hard to say. I don't know, can't tell. All right, so this is gonna go on like this, so that just a little bit of that black is showing through, and this is essentially a glitter on glitter. So this is gonna take a while to really set. I just gotta keep pushing down on it. Here's the little compartment. We have some little leaves. The rest of this is, it's pretty much a breeze. It won't take long at all, but it'll be cool. All right, how you doing here, stem? Are you sticking for me? I think we got it. Did we? Yeah, looks pretty good. All right, we can put glue on this entire thing now. Okay. And get that in place. Just match that up with the shadow layer on this main black piece. We got the little tendrils from the pumpkin. Went with a black just to kind of make it a little more spooky. Okay, so we're gonna leave this alone for now. You can kind of take the leaves and just put them there just for now. This is gonna get foam squared onto the final pumpkin once that's complete. But let's take a look at the main part of our pumpkin because we're literally almost done. All right, this little fella here, this is actually gonna get glued to this part here. You can see why it was kind of important to have the little holes cut out. So we could technically do this now. Why don't we just do that now? Let's get our glue on here. You could do hot glue if you want. This regular old glue is totally fine as well. And try to get this nice and centered. Use the little cutouts first to line those up, and then take a look and just make sure that he is in fact pretty centered. That looks good. We'll press that down. And then you can see here, we have this little slit. Okay. Let's just be patient here and let that set. In the meantime, let's put this little box together. Okay. So what we're gonna do, you notice that there's some little triangular teeth. Put a little bit of glue on that, tuck it in, and press and hold. Okay, then let's head over here, do the same thing on this one. Just a very tiny amount of glue. And I mean, technically if you want to, you could probably just put a little foam square on this and, you know, just attach it to the back. But of course we wanted to make it really nice. All right, so let's close this up now. Go ahead and throw a little bit of glue on these two tabs. And it may help to grab a little dowel or something right now to get some leverage inside. So go ahead and pop that on there, line it up, and just press and hold. And if you pop your dowel in there, it'll give you a little bit of leverage right on these tabs so you can push down on something. Okay, and there's your little pocket. Perfect. This guy should fit in there nicely. It does. Let's flip this around. This should all be nice and dry now. I have a little set of markers there for the placements. And just glue that right on there, like so. Could probably use that same dowel again. Push down on that. Okay. And just tuck that right in there. Voila. So we've got our purple layer. We're going to take this orange layer. That's going to go on top. And all you should see here is just this purple being revealed. And of course, we're doing cardstock on glitter. So this is one of those things where we're probably going to do this and get it lined up, and then we'll just leave it underneath the mat for probably a minute or two to make sure that everything sticks nicely. And we need this to sort of thicken this sign up a little bit. Doesn't need to be perfect. We can always go in and kind of paint any additional glue anywhere we may need to, but we have to get it in place ASAP before that glue starts to dry. Get that lined up as accurately as you can, especially down here by the banner. Perfect. Press that down. And as soon as you know you've got it lined up, go ahead and take that and slide it under your mat. And whoa there. And let the mat do the rest of the work for us. All right, so we're going to take this piece now. I'm going to flip this over and we're going to glue our vellum to the back. So just want to work some glue around the perimeter of these cutouts. Just like that. Okay. And just be sure to match this up nicely. So you're covering all of the cutouts. Press that down. Perfect. And there's that. And then next, so I made a boo-boo, which is why you already see some glue marks on this, but that's okay. You won't. That's why I'm here, to make the mistakes and make sure that you don't repeat them. But I've got a lot of surface area to cover here, so do your best to firstly get some glue around the perimeter, and then we're going to try to get as much as we can on the inside, the little areas inside that are still sort of loose. Don't worry too much about those. We can kind of go in and paint a little bit of glue in those areas to get them to really stick if necessary. Okay, let's take this and just very carefully, I'm going to match up the nose and the eyes first, and the rest of it should just kind of fall into place, as you can see. And give it a little nudge. Make sure it's lining up nicely. There we go, that looks great. Press that down. There we go. Okay. So now, grab a few pieces of scrap paper and just throw a nice thin layer of glue on your scrap, and then you can go in here, and if you have any loose sections like that, just kind of tuck the paper under. There's one there. That one's okay. You're just painting a little bit of glue on these little pieces just to make sure that they're not going anywhere. But that's pretty solid. Looking good so far. I don't know what that is. Okay, cool. All right, so, well, almost down to the final layers here. Okay, this is the layer we're going to put on next. And what I would probably suggest doing here is, I think we're going to try to paint most of this, just because it's kind of wobbly. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to put glue on this main banner part to get this anchored down so that we know for sure that it is where it needs to be. And then with our scrap paper, we'll kind of work our way up and get the rest of it glued down, because it's going to be a disaster if you try to do this all in one fell swoop. See what I mean? That'd be getting glue everywhere. Let's just focus on getting the banner part at the bottom lined up nicely. And as we're doing that, let's just check and verify that everything else is lining up. Even though it's not glued down, it's okay. Don't worry about that just yet. And then what we'll do is we'll just kind of go around. You could technically now kind of flip that out like so. And let's get glue on as much of this as we can, especially this thin little rim around the perimeter. Let's get that glued down, and then we'll paint the rest of it. So kind of top and bottom first, and wherever else you can kind of squeeze that nozzle in before the glue starts to dry. Try to get that lined up. Okay, very carefully grab it and pop it in there. There we go. Get that lined up as accurately as you can. It kind of almost like has a mind of its own in certain areas because it is so thin. But just get as much of it glued down as you can. And then we'll paint the rest of it in place. Like this part here, I didn't get any glue on that at all, and that's totally fine. All right, so with some scrap paper, just throw a thin amount of glue on that, and then let's go ahead and just paint a little bit of glue on any of the areas that need it. Especially for me, I was not able to get it on this thin little strip, so I'm going to get that in place first, like so. And then we'll keep applying. Like this whole section here needs some love. Just very gently apply a nice thin layer of glue on there, and then do your best to line that up and press it down. Okay, I'm going to head over here. And I've got this little section here. You can also use this little scrap piece to kind of lift it up. Just paint a little bit of glue on there, let it drop, press it down. Okay. I've got this top part here. That didn't really get much glue on it. Paint that. Press that down. The tip of this needs a little love. Get that glued down. There we go. I'm going to use a clean scrap just to kind of feel for where I need to put more glue. Just a very thin amount here. You can kind of push that down onto that scrap piece, like so. That part's good. This part here, you can tell, is a little loose. That's okay. Tuck that under. Paint a little glue there. And let's see where else. This little fella here needs a little love. Get him in place. This guy here. So you get the idea. Just going to go through, take your time, find any little areas where we either got not enough glue or no glue at all, and just get them all in place. That's perfect. Okay, cool. So that's done. Now we have some pieces that are going to be a lot easier to work with now. Okay, so this up here, this is going to line up perfectly with these little spiky areas. This will be a lot easier to work with. But again, if you don't get it all the way out to these little spikes, that's fine. You can always paint. You can always paint and clean things up nicely. Better to take your time and be meticulous about it rather than try to rush it and make a huge mess. So I'm looking up here at these little spiky areas, and I'm getting that lined up first because I know that if I do that, the rest of it will just fall into place for me. There we go. Perfect. Okay, that looks great. And then we have one last section here. It's going to go like that. And this one's even smaller, should be easier to work with. Just go easy on the glue. Okay, and again, lining up the little spiky areas first. Pardon my head if it's in the way. And just drop that down, and voila. Super cool. That pattern's awesome, actually. That looks like graphic 45. Could be wrong, but I don't think so. Sweet. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, cool. All right, what else here? Let's see. All right, next we're going to take these and need to glue these together. So they're 2 layers. Got the glitter layer. I just made up a new word. Glitter layer on top of the cardstock layer, just to double it up. And you'll notice that there's a little score marker there, like a little marker to help you with placement. I'll show you how that works here in a second. And we did this to save paper so that you didn't have to cut a huge piece of glitter for the rest of the banner. Okay. All right, and you want it kind of pointing up. So these are going to go like this. And this little marker here, if I kind of bend this, you can see it's poking out. That is going to go right here, like so. Okay, and that's going to give us that two-tone effect on the banner. And you can either glue that down or foam square it. I am going to pull out my hot glue because that's glitter, and that's going to take forever. Let's take a look here. We're almost done. Let's see what this is going to look like. And I'm going to foam square this pretty heavily so I can diffuse that light as much as possible. That looks great. And now what you can do if you want to diffuse the light even more is cut out maybe 1, 2, even 3 more layers of this vellum to really diffuse that light. It's up to you. You don't have to. Okay, so remember the little marker there. And again, I can still see it. It might be hard to tell on camera, but there it is. It's going to go just like that. So you want to keep your hot glue over in this area here. Hopefully this thing's warmed up. There it goes. Let's get that hot glue going. Hold on. Keep it moving. And just line that up nicely. Press that down. Okay, definitely hot glue for this. All right, there we go. Do the same thing with the other one. You can see where that little marker is. Let's get the hot glue going on there. A little swirl. And line that up. Where'd it go? There you are. There we go. Press that in place. Good. Okay, next, I'm going to take and, before we connect everything, I'm going to put the stem on here. Okay, you can see this little bump right here. That bump is going to coincide with the bump on top, like that. And you can see that that little area there coincides with this part here. So you want to line it up like that. And you can either hot glue this or you can foam square it. It's up to you. I think I'm gonna use hot glue actually. Okay, so we've got the hot glue. Let's get that lined up, like so. Pop that down. And now this little vine, we're gonna ultimately bring it up and over, like so. Let's grab your hanger mechanism. It could be a wire, it could be, I'm using one of these. Okay, and all we're gonna do, in my case, I'm just gonna wrap it, or I'm sorry, curve it. Try to make it even at the bottom. And then just kind of fold it up. We're gonna poke this through the back. And then fold it up. And there's our little hanger. Okay, now we're just gonna connect these two sections together. And I'm gonna use some foam squares for that. All we really have left to do is put the leaves on, but I want to get this in place first. So let's grab our foam squares, preferably if you have larger ones. That would be the better bet. And we're just gonna stagger these on our foam core. And if you want to do multiple layers, you can. Hopefully I have enough of these large ones. I might have to dig through my drawer here. I'm gonna double this up just because I want a little more distance between the face and the lights so that the light is better diffused. So you can literally just stack two on top of each other. Pretty sure I have some more of these. If not, I might be popping on Amazon later today. All right, well, I'm one shy. That's okay, because I can put a single one on there. It'll be fine. So let's pop this off. And then we'll take care of the leaves here in just a moment. That'll be our last step, with the exception of actually putting the banner in place. All right, so the idea here is to just make sure that we get this lined up nicely with the lights. And you might want to take the tendrils and just move them out of the way. Just line that up with the lights as accurately as you can. And it's literally the same shape. There we go. Okay, so we have the main part of the sign all done here. And as I mentioned, we have a couple options for placing the actual banner on there. You can use Velcro dots, or I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this cool, this is magnetic tape, and I think I'm going to do like 3 of them. You can just cut them with some scissors. And then what I'll typically do, it comes with like an A and B side, because there's like a positive and a negative. You want to make sure that you get enough of each. It can be a little bit bigger than it needs to be. Okay, so we'll do one there. We'll do one here. And when it's on the roll like that, you just need to flatten it out. Make sure that you have the polarity correct. or again, you can do Velcro dots. I'm doing this because I feel like there's less chance of it like warping as I'm trying to pull it off. And we'll put the leaves on last here in just a moment. Let's get that on there. And then the one thing that you're going to need to do is just make sure that you put, these are going to go on the actual sign. You want to make sure that you put the magnets in the same place on the other one so that they all connect. So there'll be one on the main structure, and oops, make sure I have the right polarity here. Here we go. So that one's going to go there. This one's going to go here. You get the idea. Just want to make sure that where it connects matches up with both banners. Now again, if you're not planning on running out of candy, good for you for making sure that you come prepared. Whoops, what am I doing? There we go. That one goes there. That one goes there. And the last one here. Then you don't need to worry about this. You can just affix Trick or Treat to yours, and you'll be in good shape. Make sure that's the right one. It is, okay. So, like I said, just want to make sure that we line these up relatively in the same spot. I'll put this one here. That one's already glued down. Get this one right in the center. This one's going here. Okay. Now I'm going to put these on like this. I'll peel this off. Okay. And that is going to go on like so. Just make sure you line that up as accurately as you can. There we go. Okay, and then so we should be able to take that off and swap it with the other one like that. There you go. And there it is. Very cool. All right, so let's take a look at these leaves. Okay, there's we're going to stagger these. We're going to go, in my case, purple, black, purple, black, purple, black. Okay. And if you want, you can take a little dowel and just kind of curl some of these, give them a little bit of interest, which we've done many, many times. Okay, and then the little tendrils here, they have little circles that pretty much signal this is where you need to glue it. So this one's going to go right here. Just pop that on nice and easy. Okay, this one's going to go kind of like this. It's going to follow the curve of the little tendril. Try not to get any glue on your sign. And I forgot to curl the tips of these, but you can do that later, that's fine. Just get that glued in place. All right, let's do this one. I'm going to curl it back and forward and back and up and down and up. Get a little bit of glue on the circle and just match that up nicely. That one's going to go up like that. Then we have one that's going to go back here. Might need to kind of pull it out just ever so slightly. Whoops. I'm like standing up because I'm excited to see the end result here. Throw a little bit of glue on that guy there. Let's bring this over. Get him in place like so. Then we're gonna go purple here. And I inked and embossed these as well. There we go. We'll pop that in place. Maybe angle it a little bit so they're not fighting for space. And the last one here. There we go. And that one's gonna go there. Pop that on there, nice and easy. Let that all set, and there she is, beautiful. Yep, hanging nice and even, beautiful sign. Way cooler than anything I've seen anywhere, really, to be honest. And as you can see, you can peel that off. And sorry, we're out of candy. And there we go, super cool. So that's gonna do it for this one, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please visit us on our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. All of our content is exclusively available on Creative Fabrica through either their all access membership, or you can purchase them individually if you'd like as well. But that's gonna do it. So anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Happy Halloween. And as always, I look forward to crafting with you again.